ho! Welcome to the Hallmark Holiday Chug Show. Here's how it works. Each chugger has to continue chugging their mug of holiday cheer until the other has finished describing their holiday movie. Enjoy this holiday edition of the Chug Show. Ho, ho, ho!
Grandpa kiss me on the lips.
So ABC Family Channel Classic says, Merry Christmas from Bayside High. Of course, we start out with quirky narration from quirky main character, Sabrina, the teenage drama queen. Her opening line is, you know, I'm a long way from crazy. As someone who goes on Tinder and Bumble a lot, I've heard that before, and it's usually false. So we get our classic female character, you know, Sabrina, the angry drunken dwarf.
Go have sex with Jesus Christ, you
who's a waitress, but somehow lives in a huge loft in the big city with bottles of wine scattered everywhere and old Chinese food in the fridge. Sniff, sniff. When we finish with Chinese food, do we sniff it before we throw it out? Hey, but the movie already gets bonus points because it has Marky Post as the mom. Yummer! Even though she's kind of the mother who tells her daughter to wear the least revealing dress because it makes her hips look big, even though her daughter is 97 pounds, she's most impressed with AC Slater's one-size-fits-all wrestling singlet. Of course, Sabrina's douchebag boyfriend that's supposed to come home with her for the holidays is a total cheese dick in a suit and tie and says, yeah, you know what? We're not there yet. I can't come home with you for the holidays because we haven't fucked yet. I thought that was hilarious. But of course, AC Slater enters her life in the perfect moment. That's right, preppy AC Slater. Anyway, as she concocts her harebrained plan to get AC Slater to go home with her for Christmas, for some reason to pose as her boyfriend, who they've never met or care about. So instead of asking AC Slater or bribing him with money, she points a musket at his head and kidnaps him. I don't think this musket works, but I guess he's a moron. Thank God I have not been on dates where that happened, but I've definitely been on ones where I thought they were thinking it. So she drives him cuffed and blindfolded to her parents' house for Christmas, and he goes along with it because of course he does. And to no surprise of anyone, the family's completely insane. He tells everyone immediately that he's been kidnapped at gunpoint, but it's okay because she introduces him to her parents and says, hey, my boyfriend has this really weird condition where he always feels like he's being kidnapped. So he tries a cell phone to get himself safe from this fucking living nightmare, and she takes a meat cleaver and destroys the phone. Nothing crazy about her. The more we find out about Katrina, the teenage psychopath, the more psychotic she sounds. She's a recluse as a kid, and her parents paid people to be her friends, but those people gave the money back. I'm guessing some of them may have even gone missing. Just as we need to talk about Kevin, we need to talk about Sabrina and keep her away from crossbows. It really gets creepy when AC Slater is asked to read The Night Before Christmas around the Christmas tree in front of this psychotic family who seems like the family from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as they constantly lick their lips looking at him as he's prey. The whole family belongs on the naughty list, but of course for no reason whatsoever, AC Slater falls in love with Lisa Turtle's understudy. The most tragic part of this is that AC Slater seems like a pretty good guy. He doesn't come from money. His parents were both school teachers who died in a car accident when he was 9. And he grew up with his grandfather in a one-bedroom apartment. He worked his way through college. So she kidnapped Prince fucking Charming. Of course, they fall in love on Christmas Day, and their first kiss is under a mistletoe. Then at Christmas dinner, the parents get drunk. The sister says she's opening up a Pilates studio and dropping out of college, and the brother says he's gay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
His fiance that he called for help, who spent her entire holidays looking for him to try to rescue him, he just told to fuck off. Fuck off. The end.
Fuck you, it's Christmas. I don't wanna hold your kid.
My Christmas movie this year is a Canadian TV film, Shoelaces for Christmas. God, within 10 minutes, I already wanted to rip my eyes out. We have the spoiled teen brat who makes fun of the new kids in school with her old Mean Girls clique, and they kind of suck. Her mom finds out that she has cancer and needs to get treatments, and her little son is like, Mommy, are you you gonna die? It's like, oh, we're all gonna die someday, sweetie. I'm just trying to avoid that right now. And the dad thinks she's a brat, so he makes her work at a homeless shelter. And she starts warming. I can't wash dishes. This is disgusting. I'm like, I've seen this plot in a sitcom like 50 million times already. It has the Hallmark flavor. I mean, maybe they're trying to copy it. Maybe, hopefully, if we're lucky, we can get a copyright infringement from Hallmark and they could just cast this movie away. Apparently, it's based on a novel, so I advocate a book burning in this case for how bad this is. The girl starts warming up to this new guy in town. She's hitting on him and she wants to go out with him until she finds out that his little sister is the new girl she was making fun of at the beginning of the film. And the wannabe boyfriend finds out and he's all upset. Oh, I thought you were better than this. And this is about the point of the movie where I started kind of spacing a bit and I started scrolling and sharing news stories to Cinema Gulp. Like and subscribe, by the way. When I clued back in, she's at the shelter with this little girl and she's with her other little friends and they're putting toys together and they're all homeless kids. And I guess her just some sob story. Her dad died before she was born. The bratty teenager who is only doing all of this because she wants to get her trip to Paris for the summer decides, oh, I know, I'll invite her and her mother over to my house for Christmas and we'll have Christmas dinner and they'll like it. Except their Christmas dinner's a few days in advance. And they go there and the little girl is asked by the mother, what do you want for Christmas, little girl? Oh, I just want shoelaces. And they can't believe she talks. And it turns out the reason she wants the damn shoelaces is because her mom used it to hold their tent together when they were homeless. So the bratty teenager takes her to a little tree, Christmas tree, which has, for some reason, a bunch of shoelaces tied on it. And she gives her some. And it's like, ugh. And she breaks off with her mean girl clique and says, oh, I'm not going to be friends with you. I can't imagine I was friends with you in the first place. I still needed bleach, maybe, to bleach my eyes out, because this was just horrible. Then we finally get to the climax where the little girl and her mother get placed in a new home, but because of the rules, they're not allowed to say where they've been placed, so they can't spend Christmas Day with them. And the Ruthie, the lady who works at the shelter, is like, don't worry, this letter will explain everything. And the first sentence of the letter is literally, don't worry, Ruthie will explain everything. And apparently that just passes for good writing these days, but then it really doesn't. So she goes home, and the father, despite the fact that she's still kind of cheesily making up for it, says, you know what? Your mom might still die, but here's your trip to Paris. You've earned it. Cue the magic phone call where the mom's magically cured, and we have our epilogue 6 months later.
6 months later.
She's going to Cleveland because the homeless shoelace people sent her a letter in the mail. And I was thinking about, like, looking at my film collection, there's got to be something better to watch than, you know, drinking. Maybe we had some battery acid to drink. I couldn't really find any. I wanted to send some horror characters to go and just finish this shit off. But anyway, Merry Christmas, Todd Michael. I know you really wanted me to read this, but I give it half a star for the technical proficiency of the lighting and the cinematography. Oh my God, it's just shoelaces. Maybe we should use the shoelaces for a Sherman necktie party for everybody involved in the making of this motion picture.
Little spoiled ass kids dream about what they might get. All through the night I contemplate about which blunt I might hit.
So this is the Hallmark Hall of Fame movie, November Christmas. Well, Merry freaking Christmas to me. I not only picked a Hallmark Christmas movie with good acting, but the damn story was pretty good too. So why am I so upset? When I started November Christmas, I was pretty amped. That's because every once in a while, it is nice to watch a movie that is so bad, it helps you to reappreciate other movies. You know, like an expectation reset button. Something that makes you believe that you too could act in, write, or even direct a movie. November Christmas did not do that for me. I did not get to enjoy the typical bad jokes, cheesy writing, and cringe-worthy acting.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Instead, I freaking got a movie that made me cry and feel good about life. The movie takes place in the summer in Rhode Island, which is apparently a perfect place. Nature, farms, beaches, nice neighbors, great hospitals, sun, snow. It's the hallmark of US states. And now my future retirement location. So the movie starts off with mega cheese potential. We get the introduction you get in almost every Hallmark movie. The happy music, la la la, la la. The piano, ding 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 ding. And the twinkle twinkle, twinkle twinkle, la la. It was great because I truly thought we were on the road to Cheesy Town. And then the main character of the movie, Vanessa, starts us off by reading her story, November Christmas, to a class of elementary school kids. The movie then fades to 15 years in the past.
15 years earlier.
We meet the best neighbors ever, Virgil Earp and Marion Ravenwood. Sorry, I mean Jess and Claire Sanford, who own their own organic farm. And we meet their neighbors, a young family, that from this point forward are trying to make me cry. We have the dad, Tom Marks, who I swear I saw at a Greek wedding. and the mom, Beth, who I remember seeing at the O.J. Simpson trial, and the son, Gordon, who is the perfect child, and then Vanessa, who has been fighting cancer. And we learn that she is not necessarily winning this battle. It's at this point that my eye socket started to malfunction and leak a strange briny fluid. Vanessa is literally the sweetest little girl on earth. By the end of the movie, I was mad at the writers for putting her through all this shit. As the movie goes on, Jess and Claire become close friends of the young family. They even help to move up the holidays to make sure that Vanessa survives long enough to see them. Jess and Claire also lost a son years before, which makes them especially sympathetic. Again, I had that problem with my eyes and even had a trembling lip. And as Vanessa is in the hospital, the entire town works together to bring her Christmas in November. After a tough round of cancer treatment with the new drug, they bring Vanessa home. The entire town is decorated in full Hallmark glory. They go full retard. As Hallmarky as Hallmark can get, more sappy than a Christmas tree farm. It starts to snow and Vanessa is literally besides herself with happiness as she holds a snow globe with a girl that looks like her holding a snow globe with a girl that looks like her. We get to see the older Vanessa who explains the extreme happiness from all of the goodness and how it made her recover completely. And everyone lives happily ever after. Sam Elliott's performance was great. Not as good as Roadhouse, Gettysburg, Tombstone, The Big Lebowski, or even Ghost Rider, but much better than Rock Dog, Barnyard, or Frogs. And I loved it when Claire wins the drinking contest at her bar in Nepal, and when her necklace helps find the Ark of the Covenant. But I found myself wishing the movie would end so I can go back to my normal routine of movies featuring killer clowns, xenomorphs, yahuchas, pet detectives, Jedis, ninjas, barbarians, Mars, robots from the future, and anything starring Keanu Reeves.
Hail all pet detectives.
I don't wanna hold your kid. That's some scary fucking shit. Fuck you.
As a sign of solidarity, I'm gonna have a drink with you while I describe Christmas every day. So here's my first and only beer of the night. I hope.
Awesome.
Christmas every day was the abortion ABC Family should have had in 1996. Unfortunately, that baby came to birth, and it can be described no better than as a ripoff of Groundhog's Day set to Christmas, but instead of Bill Murray being a lovable middle-aged douchebag, it stars Billy, a 13-year-old unlovable douchebag. Billy's day starts out on Christmas Eve. He needs to run a delivery out of his dad's shop. The cranky old man who lives next door is pissed that his uncle's some bigwig Walmart type guy building stores in the area. He runs by the basketball court where he gets shown up by his bully, who is also dating the girl he loves. Tries to play a prank that's going to go off the next day for Christmas, right? So he spends Christmas Eve just being a little shit. And Christmas Day comes, and he does it all over again. And the day hasn't even repeated yet. As a sign of solidarity, I'm going to have a drink with you while I describe Christmas every day. Goes to the basketball court, gets shown up by his bully, whiffs it in front of the girl. His uncle comes in. He's a fucking douchebag. He runs right into their garage door. And then they end up going to the pageant where he sets off the prank. And then accidentally, all this water falls on his uncle. And that's when he decides to tell everybody, hey, I'm going to bring this store to the town and take all your jobs. It goes great, right? His little sister sad at the end of the day. She comes home, she tries to get in bed with him, and he says, hey, do me a favor, please fuck off. Fuck off. And she says, but what if it was Christmas every day? He doesn't understand it. Then he tries to make the best of it. I mean, he does pretty much everything Bill Murray does. He does some gambling. There's a jelly bean counting contest in town. Prize is $250. Guys, $250 in 1996 will get you a Super Nintendo. What 13-year-old wouldn't want that, right? He continually gets his ass kicked by his bully until he watches a bunch of Bruce Lee films. I shit you not. At no point did he ever try to learn actual martial arts, and then still was terrible at it. In this film, you see Enter the Dragon poster. There's references to America's Funniest Home Videos, Candid Camera, The Twilight Zone, Goosebumps. This kid quotes Schwarzenegger, De Niro, and Eastwood in the same film. And all you're left doing is thinking about, I would rather be watching those things. This film's an abusive relationship. And there's nothing like that around the holidays. I need another drink. As a sign of solidarity, I'm going to have a drink with you while I describe Christmas every day. So Dad's brother is this hotshot from, get this, Washington, D.C. He won't shut up about it, like an entrepreneur who wishes he ran a Walmart. So he's opening these things all over the place. and he's home visiting with his wife and their daughter, who has the worst 90s slang I've ever heard. The very first thing she says is that she, for Christmas, got a shopping spree in heaven, which means a mall gift certificate.
As if.
When the family notices a painting over the mantle that they like, she says it's a mega Picasso in totally Technicolor. So Billy gets woken up every day from his alarm clock at 7:30, all right? Another thing just ripped out of Groundhog's Day. Every day he goes down, he falls down the steps. His douchebag uncle shows up. The families walk over to the church for the big nativity play. On the way, they stop by the playground. The bully outshoots him and disses him in front of his family. His dad, being the great dad he is, just kind of lets it happen. The prank Billy set up the day before goes off, ruins his uncle's pants. But then, as it goes, he is trying to find information to create a perfect Christmas for people, because at least, you know, he saw Groundhog's Day. He knew what they were doing. At one point, he asked his dad what the first Christmas gift he got his mom was, and his dad said a cuckoo clock. It is amazing this child was ever born, let alone this guy ever got a first date with the mom. Junior digs this cuckoo clock out of the garage to put it back in a goddamn box for mom to open and be surprised, right? The only fucking problem with that, though, is he gets up at 7:30 every day, falls down the steps, and everybody's at the tree. He has to break the space-time continuum to do that.
Great Scott!
And also, sometimes the jelly bean counting game is before the basketball games. He finds lost Girl Scouts, and they are on the news, and they say, this kid Billy saved us, right? And he only knows about them because later in the day, the news reported them where the bodies were found. Because if they were rescued, he wouldn't need to rescue them any earlier. It's a really hard movie to make it through. And Christmas Every Day is why I'm going to have one beer. Just one beer to talk about this movie. As a sign of solidarity, I'm going to have a drink with you while I describe Christmas Every Day.
I didn't get nobody shit. I don't want to talk politic. Yes, I know I've gotten big. Who the fuck is that little kid?
So my movie pick was Hallmark movie Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever from 2014. So everyone knows the famous internet meme Grumpy Cat. Her real name is Tartar Sauce, and she's a female, in case you didn't know. What I was surprised about was that she was voiced by Aubrey Plaza. So Grumpy Cat explains from the start how cliche the movie is, that she shouldn't have her own movie, and even points out that the keyboard cat is more talented than she is. So she introduces us to the mall pet store where she lives with a bunch of other pets who want to be adopted. We can hear all of them, you know, speaking, thinking about wanting to be adopted.
You gonna get it. Somebody been naughty.
And we also learn that Grumpy Cat is grumpy because her two previous owners returned her because she looks like the kind of cat who would smother you in your sleep. So the pet owner finds out that he is late on the rent because the mall manager comes in and tells him. But to save the store, his idea is to put Grumpy Cat's face up on the internet and create this popular meme, make billions of dollars on merchandise. The store owner actually gets a big Leon Burger dog named Jojo, and he's worth $1 million because he looks like a Fabio type model. So now we meet the main character, Crystal. She's about 14. She volunteers at the pet store. She has no friends until Mall Santa, actually played by Russell Peters, gives her a Christmas coin to throw in the Christmas well in the Christmas section of the mall. So she throws the coin in the fountain and she wishes for a friend to depend on. She can now hear Grumpy Cat speak. She can only hear Grumpy Cat, not the other animals. And Grumpy Cat's saying like all these mean insults, like,
you used to have Sinatra come by, now it's all these fucking old guys.
She goes back to her house where her mom is having a Christmas party. Everyone's wearing ugly Christmas sweaters. She hallucinates a Grumpy Cat floating head that calls her back to the mall. So she sneaks out of the house and no one notices or cares. So Grumpy Cat narrates into every commercial break and gives a recap of what happened before the commercials. And there we meet Zach and Danny. They're two young wannabe rock stars who are in a band called Dragon's Tail. They enter the mall, they tie up George, the security guard, who was actually already asleep. Then they go to the pet store where Crystal hides and sees them dogneck Jojo. So back to the pet store, Crystal tries to tell Grumpy Cat to help save Jojo. Grumpy Cat doesn't care, but finally agrees to help because Crystal explains that she would be losing her home. So Crystal then steps out in full paintball gear and shoots them multiple times in the butt. So Grumpy Cat helps out by imagining herself with a paintball minigun. And she also tells an imaginary British Grumpy Cat to get lost after he points out that they don't make paintball gun sized for cats. So one of the rockers makes a run for it, grabs a bow and arrow. He accidentally shoots himself in the foot and screams, but because he's a rock star, it sounds like, yeah! So back to Crystal, she ends up in George's security office, and she unties him so he can help her. And he says that they cut the phone line and he doesn't have a cell phone. He also doesn't have a car because his wife drives him to work. He wants to send Crystal on a bike to get help, but he also continually suggests that she should grab the keys.
Give me the keys! Give me the keys!
So just before Crystal's able to leave, George's cell phone rings. He said he didn't have one. And then it's the rockers, and they said they lost the dog. So George is the mastermind behind this dog napping scheme. So he ties up Crystal in the pet store to interrogate her about where the keys are. She finally tells him they're in the fountain. Grumpy Cat returns at this point, and they attack George and scare him off. And this includes a dog biting him really hard in the groin for like an uncomfortably long amount of time. And Grumpy Cat narrates that they're about to bust through the glass doors to have like a really spectacular movie scene. But Crystal actually stops the car, gets out, hits the handicap button, and then drives through the open doors. And Grumpy Cat explains that they didn't have the budget for that kind of destruction. Crystal's mom runs up to her and asks if she's okay and if the robbers touched her. And Grumpy Cat narrates that's a different kind of Lifetime movie. Very uncomfortable. Crystal's family adopts Grumpy Cat. The mall manager remains tied to a pole in the mall. The end. And
somebody help me before they start karaoke. Oh no, here go hokey pokey. I think I need little smoky.
A Castle for Christmas 2021 on Netflix. To escape a scandal, a best-selling author journeys to Scotland, where she falls in love with a castle and faces off with the grumpy duke who owns it. For our cast of has-beens looking for relevance and a paycheck in 2021, we have Brooke Shields as our best-selling author Sophie, Carrie Elways as Wesley the stable boy, Miles the Duke, and Drew Barrymore as unhinged talk show host Drew Barrymore.
We love you. You're a jerk.
Following the Hallmark movie template, we get these formulaic elements. Uptight socialite from New York City has lame reasons to get out of town and go visit a quaint village in the Scottish countryside. We have a meet cute moment that establishes that the two leads will fall in love, but first we need to manufacture some conflict between these two. We have a business deal to buy the castle that will create most of the forced conflict. In the quaint village, we have a quaint little cottage inn filled with colorful supporting characters that all want to be instant best friends with Sophie. Sophie also has an editor best friend back in New York City that she checks in with periodically. Of course, Sophie falls in love with the local people and the countryside and the beautiful castle that's for sale. And of course, the castle is owned by the grumpy Duke, who Sophie has already had a meet cute with, but now they must butt heads over the misunderstandings of the business deal to purchase the castle. We have a soundtrack by some 90s indie pixie girl rock band that has all the right songs to tell you exactly how to feel at every twist and turn. Rom-com scenarios ensue as sexual tension and business tensions clash to bring the pair together and pull them apart for just the right amount of screen time to set up the inevitable third act. There's the oops, we almost kissed moment. There's the you don't want my property for the right reasons moment. There's the everyone in town can see what the two of you can't see moment. Oh, you're falling for each other. There's the give in to love, we're happy montage, followed immediately by the it all falls apart over the business deal. The deal is off. We get the I'm so sad I'm going home to New York City montage. Then a quick and forced reconciliation with the realization that we do care about each other. Oh, and love is back on. We get a big opulent Christmas party at the castle where everyone can come together and be one big happy family. Also the this village is my family now and I never want to leave it moment. And then we get cue the happy ending. Now for some things I didn't expect from this formulaic Hallmark movie. Good acting from the entire cast, real comedic timing and British wit, actual chemistry between the charming leads, supporting characters that you genuinely like and care about, a convincing Scottish accent from Carrie Elways.
You could have got one for Italy quick and it's took you to fucking bring it.
Drew Barrymore getting belligerent drunk on her TV talk show, a subplot borrowed from Stephen King's Misery, yarn ball graffiti, you kind of have to see that one, first-class art direction, and cinematography that during the exterior scenes It's filled with so much beauty and atmosphere, I could have sworn this was directed by Ridley Scott. To be honest, this movie could use some Russell Crowe riding down a hill and beheading someone, but overall, it wasn't the torture I thought I was getting myself into. It was a charming, likable little rom-com, Christmas rom-com, but I guess I should have known that going in. After all, this is directed by Mary Lambert, someone known for making Hallmark-esque 80s and 90s entertainment, such as Madonna music videos Like a Virgin and Like a Prayer, and she's most known for the heartwarming, family-friendly movie Pet Sematary. That's it.